Hi, I'm Camilla Luddington, and you're watching Heirloom.
At the time of this recording, Super Sentai is basically having two 20-year specials. They're 20 years later, basically with Hurricane and Abba Ranger. And I've got to admit, I am excited for Abba Ranger mainly more because that's the one that I want to see. Or Abra Ranger, I can never really pronounce it. Hurricane, not that kind of like excited for. We'll kind of see how that goes. But at least one of them I am. Now, I've made a video talking about 10 years later type things and how Power Rangers should pretty much do the same because it's something that I think the fans would love. And at the moment, we're getting the kind of same thing right now with the 30th anniversary with basically Rangers returning back, which again is kind of a cool thing. And it's definitely got me kind of really excited because I want to see how the storyline is. I love the story that they're going with Yen mainly. And I think, oh, not Yen. I can't remember her name right now. I've always just known calling her Yen or Min. I think it's Min. So I'm really excited for the Trini to be kind of like honored in stuff like that in Power Rangers. I think that to me is one of the best things out there. So effectively, we're getting our season 3, season 2, mainly we'll go with season 3. Season 3 reunion. And again, when I saw Johnny Yonbosh as well as Karen Ashley, I was very shocked and very happy to see this. And it's nice that we're actually getting a full team back, and again with obviously with Walter and David coming in as well. Again, I was excited. I think pretty much most fans were once they saw this news and they were like, oh my god, I gotta see it right now. I was extremely happy, and I know you probably were as well. Let me know down below in the comments if you were happy, and yeah, we'll see. With seeing how the way that Sentai does this, it made me start thinking with the direction of Power Rangers going right now, it majorly got me thinking, could we get 10-year, 20-year later Power Rangers much later on? Now, this is an exciting thing that I think that a lot of fans would love. Now, I will state this now, and I have said in the past that I do believe that we should focus more on like the new series and stuff like that. But I think that if you were to do specials like we're getting with the 30th anniversary, I feel like as long as it's not interrupting with like the Power Rangers as it is now, and it was a side project, I think it would be absolutely fantastic, and I think a lot of people would kind of like this. Did you know that at least 88.1% of you are not subscribed to the channel, where 11.9 are who watch this video? So why don't you hit that like button, hit subscribe, and leave a comment on this, as well as many other things, and it would help the channel grow, and I would really appreciate it. I feel that the way that the show is going, as I mentioned before, that this is now even possible. The fact is that you could make your own suit, you could use Sentai suits that have never been used before, etc., and actually bring them all in, which I think would be a really kind of cool thing. Only because, you know, we could have a unique story for each one, and for the episode to be at least 44 minutes. And if you did this like every single year, I think you'd fill a gap that's there right now with how many episodes of Power Rangers, and it would give the fans something to look forward to either every single year or at least within that year. I think that would be a cool thing. I would love to know that if, say, Super Mega Force was coming back, and under the direction of Simon as well, I think that Super Mega Force could be a really good series to kind of bring back. And we have a ton of story behind it too, which again, we'd all want. I think that if we got to see Super Mega Force done right, I think people would love it. Now, talking about Super Mega Force, imagine if they did a 10 years later or 20 years later, and their main bad guy was Basco, and they got the actor who played Basco to come in and actually be that one like enemy that the Power Rangers never got. Could you imagine how many people would love that? I would absolutely love it, and I think it would kind of bring the series back into the main eye of the fans that kind of stopped watching or didn't want to watch, but with a really decent storyline as well as a decent kind of like camera work, writing and everything like that, and actually letting the actors actually fully let go and stuff like that and actually be the way that they were. I feel like we'd be onto a proper banger, boys. We'd be onto a proper banger right there. The thing is, you could choose any team and kind of do it as an anniversary or kind of like whatever you want to do. You know, you could name it like Time Force 3,000 years later or something like that. Think of it like this. You could have any other team come along. Could be Time Force, which could be 22 years later, 33 years later, whatever one that you want to go with. And I think that the two elements here is the fans would love it. The fans would absolutely eat all of this up. And I think the next one would be that I think the Ranger actors would love this as well. Most of them are always wanting to come back. They've expressed it. They're at conventions. They're always saying like, hey, I'd like to be back on the show. So if you imagine that you had that and like you had that kind of like drive behind it, I think the actors would really love it. And again, it gives us fans a thing that we'd always love to see and something a bit of hope for the year later when it's cold, it's windy, and there's no Power Rangers to keep us warm. We need more Power Ranger stuff. As I mentioned, it would fill a gap. It would bring people back. And also, if you did it 10, 20, 30 years later, whichever one that you wanted to do, I feel like you could fill this entire gap in the market. You could make people happy and also give something to the fans to kind of look forward to, as well as kind of a lot of speculation. And this is one thing that I think would really help the community kind of grow, kind of like come together and actually love it instead of bitching about it, because we all know we all do. Even if you weren't to do a team, even if you were to say choose certain Rangers to come back, again, you have the ability to do that. You have the suits on hand. You could easily make this. And again, like you don't have to follow the Sentai formula. You don't have to have Megazords. You could literally just have the Rangers come back, or you could have the three, or you could have CGI, which we pretty much saw when Tommy summoned the Falcon Zord in Ninja Steel. You could have something like that. And look how Ninja Steel did that, even though this is not in my script. But have a look at how Ninja Steel did when we had that entire episode where you had Wes, Coda, and Gemma, basically Gemma from RPM, all come back, and then you had other Rangers. If you expanded that one a little bit more, you would make everybody happy and something that would be fantastic. Again, you don't have to have Megazords. You could have that CGI whatever, or leave it out completely. Again, something that people would want to see. Wrapping up this video, the way that I see it is like it keeps the fandom talking. I've seen people on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube saying how much they want to see that something like this happen. And I feel like if you start listening to the fans to some degree and seeing all this sort of stuff, I feel like you actually build more with the audience and they'll start posting about it. So I generally think it's a good idea. If we get it, cool. I know if we don't, cool. But at least it was an interesting thing to talk about. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. See ya.
チャンネルをサポートしてくれてありがとうございます。チャンネル登録、高評価お願いします。以下のリンクから商品を入手することができます。